monster, then so be it. I will say that I tend to flip well, so I'm definitely not worried about getting ace-5 in there. I think we're ahead most of the time, and when we're not, I don't think we're too far behind. Once in a while, he'll wake up with pocket kings or pocket aces, pocket queens, something like that, but it's very, very small percentage of his range. Same thing here, so we're going to be raise calling off with ace-3 off. Let's think about this. So we're gonna raise and make a decision, right? So if holding my nuts flats and MJP jams over the top, we're gonna fold. All right. So now if MJP jams, we're gonna call off. I think his jamming range is pretty wide here. Includes a lot of broadways. Wow, 8 flats. Okay. So he's trying to flop huge with 10 big blinds over. I think we have to c-bet this board. We really don't have another way to win this pot, and I think we have to make it a decent size. So we're gonna go with 28.99, and we'll wait to see what he does. He calls. What kind of hands would he play this way? He would play draws. Alright, so let's check back and see what happens. The king hits the river. I don't know how many kings he's floating on that flop. I think it's more likely that he's floating with bottom pair, mid pair. Any one of those pairs we can't really beat. He could be floating just to try to take it away if we don't bet, but that's a really nutty looking size. Well, we can't call no matter what. So, again, if I knew who this player was and I'd played with them a bit more, I may have looked him up with ace high, thinking that maybe he missed a flush draw or a straight draw, but that's not the case. So we'll give it up. Nine-7, we're gonna fold. If this gets to us, we're gonna rip, obviously. Ace-9 is pretty strong, and we only have 7.8, so we're gonna say bigs. And so we're gonna follow through on our plan. I would expect holding my nuts or Sphantogram to potentially call a little bit lighter, a little bit wider range. It's not for a huge chunk of their stack, and they can definitely afford to gamble a little bit. So we would much rather see either holding my nuts or Sphantogram call. I don't know much about MJP, and so if Jason Mayer 2 calls, so alright, so this is good. We'll at least be able to look at what kind of range you want to call off with here. King Jack suited, that's fine. So we flop pretty good here. We just need to fade a king or a 10. And we do, and we double up. So that's great. This does another thing for us. So this now allows us to maneuver a little bit, not much. We only have 17 bigs, but we can maneuver a little bit. It sucks that we have 2 shorter stacks behind us. If these were a little bit deeper stacks, it would allow us to rip a little bit wider and get folds. We would be able to do a bit more damage to those stacks. So this is the same guy I've bet before. Oh no, actually, this guy. So we're gonna fold. We have a gut shot, backdoor flush, but it's not likely to be good if we get there. It's not really worth putting stacks in. So I don't know too many guys at this table either. This is weird. Normally I know most of the guys at the table. I know All In. He's been around for a long, long time, and he is absolutely a shark. So if we get into possibly All In, we're going to be looking to get in with fairly decent holdings, and we're not going to get too far in a line with them. The rest of the players, we're probably going to put them to the test a bit. So this is an interesting hand right here. A lot of players will rip this, and so will I from time to time when I feel like the spot calls for it. I don't think this is it. We've already seen that at least this guy MJP is willing to call us off a bit lighter, so we're just going to fold. But I mean, the argument can be made that we have a little bit of fold equity there. The problem is we have so many people to get through. In pocket fours, you know, the board is going to flop over so often, and we're obviously not going to raise there. We're either going to rip or fold, and we get a new table, which is great for us. See where we at. So far we're only on one buy-in for all these tournaments, so that's good. We played the high roller a little bit earlier. You know, we bought in really late, so really late into it. We bought in with 7.5 bigs. I don't necessarily recommend that. I wasn't going to play tonight and decided to res at the last minute, and so the high roller is one of the tournaments I really love, and so I gave it a shot. Didn't work out too well. That's okay. So like I said before, All In, we're not going to get too far to line, but you know, middle position raise, we're going to flat with King 8. I think that you know, there's still something to be said for position. It doesn't matter how good of a player you're playing against, you know, unless maybe you're playing somebody like Phil Ivey or Jonathan Duval or something. But you know, King 8 suited in late position or on the button is actually a great hand. We actually flop okay here. We have a gut shot, and this board connects really strongly, obviously, with a lot of flushes, a lot of flushy type hands. So we're going to call here. So 60, it's kind of a weak bet. I don't think we're ever folding there. We're obviously not folding here either. So the flush gets there. He put out blocker bets. You know, it's really hard for him to have a flush here. So the problem is we're getting 10.5 to 1, which means we have to almost never be right to be profitable. Yeah, all right, 10.5 to 1. We're gonna look him up, and he got there. So this guy right here lost a ton of value. Well, not really. So if he had raised a decent amount, we would have folded. But you know, if he's gonna try to get to a flush draw there, you know, he really should be barreling quite a bit more. You know, it gives him a shot at taking the pot down without having to actually make his flush. And if he's gonna put out blocker bets to keep everybody in the pot and try to get to a cheap river to try to hit his flush, he really should be going for value on the river. You know, 80 chips is not value. So I don't really know what the point of drawing to a flush is with 9-2 suited if you're not going to try to get some value out of it. You know, it's really hard to hit a flush. It's hard to flop. It's hard to flop top pair. So when you actually do, if you're not getting value out of it, then it really becomes pointless as to why you're doing it. So this is really terrible play by him. We're actually going to make a quick note of that. So we're going to fold here. I got to tell you, I think this is actually a great spot if we had more chips to rejam. With the stack size setups and with the min raise and the 3-bet, we could absolutely say that we could get in here thinking that he's just making a play at the pot and he may not be able to call. But we're going to fold. The reason we're going to fold is it has nothing to do with our cards. It has to do with the fact that, so this is the same setup as before. We're going to fold the 5s. It has to do with the fact that he 3-bet with a 4 big blind stack, or no, so 5 big blind stack right behind him. With knowing that, if he is reasonably competent, and I don't know him that well, but if he is reasonably competent, he should know that he shouldn't be 3-betting anything there, that he's not willing to call off JD's nuts. Great name, by the way. I don't want to get into that, but great name. And obviously with that hand, I mean, if we look at it, we'll see that when he 3-bets to 65-45, he's already got this guy covered, so he should know that by 3-betting there, he's obviously committed to calling him because he has him covered. Which means that he should realize that he may have to show his hand down, and he may have to show it down. Okay, so this is a great spot. We have pocket 7s, pretty strong, and depending on what the rest of these players do, we plan to jam here. If we get called, fine, we're okay with that. But this is the second time in a row he's 3-bet his open. So now we're just gonna pile. He snap folds, it's great. He calls 7-6 suited. That's just terrible. That's absolutely terrible. And he gets there. Wow. All right. Well, nice game. So let's kind of work through this again, right, in a second, actually. So ace king suited. A lot of different ways we can play this. The way we're going to play it is we're going to re-raise to 899. Now, all in should know that if we're going to 3-bet here, we could be doing it to make a move, since we do that fairly often. But he should know that at these blind levels and with our stack depths, when we 3-bet to 899 here, we're absolutely looking to get it in. This is a terrible, terrible board for our hand, but we have zero intention of not leading out on this flop. We really don't have any other way to win this pot. So we're going to lead out for 899. And so if he stuffs, we're going to probably fold. We don't really have any other option, to be honest. I mean, but like you saw, we really have no other way to win this pot. Let's go back to this hand. So we got 7s in there, knowing that